Hello and welcome to the Time Management Mini Course Day 1. I'm really excited that you've decided to take this course and get your life a little bit organized. So we're going to dive right in. Let me share my screen with you so you can see the presentation. And I really think the best way to get this started today is with a little story called The Rocks, Pebbles, and Sand. So let me move my video down here. Okay, so here's how the story goes. A philosophy professor once stood before his class and he had a big empty jar and he filled the jar with large rocks and he asked his students if the jar was full. And the student said, yeah, the jar is full. So then he added pebbles to the jar and asked again, okay, is the jar full now? The students agreed that the jar was full. The professor then poured sand into the jar and asked again, and again the students agreed the jar was finally full. So as we talk about time management and use this story, in this story, the jar represents our day, okay? And the rocks, pebbles, and sand, they represent the things that we need to do during the day. So the rocks are the things I call the non-negotiables. And that's what we're going to be doing in this very first day 1, is talking about the non-negotiables. So these are things that are important in your life, like family, your health, and your relationships. These are the things that you need to get done during the day in order to remain happy and feel fulfilled. Pebbles are other things like school, chores, errands you need to run, work. Sometimes work also is one of the rocks. It kind of just depends. But those are the things that they kind of come and go, and they don't necessarily keep you happy and fulfilled. But like your life would still be full and have meaning if they weren't there. And then same with the sand. But the sand represents that small stuff, the menial stuff, things that I'll call like the immaterial things that are kind of time wasters. So I put binge watching Netflix right in. It's a big pile of sand in the jar. So the metaphor in the story here, though, is that you need to spend your time on the small and insignificant things. Or I'm sorry. If you spend your time on the small and insignificant things, then you will run out of room for the things that are actually important. So it's all about priorities. When you start with the sand, as you can see in this picture, when they on the left side where they dumped the sand in first, there wasn't time or wasn't enough space for the rocks. So if we're doing the insignificant things first in our day and not doing the important things first, then we're going to run out of room for the things that are actually important. But when you start with the sand, when you start with the big rocks, you can see that you can fit other things into your day, and your jars actually can fit it all in. So in a much more organized way. So let's chat about how exactly to do this. So a second here. Okay, so are you running your day, or is your day running you? I kind of want you to think about how your days are going right now. So we are really going to dive into how you look at time. So when you think of your day, do you feel like you're busy all day, but then you have nothing to show for it? Like you go to bed at night, you're like, oh my gosh, I did not stop moving today, but I just don't feel like I got anything done. Do you struggle to find balance between being a mom and a wife and a friend and making time for you and your health and like your own business that you want to start, or your hobbies? Do you struggle to focus and make progress because of constant interruptions and distractions like your children? So let's take an honest look at your day. Answer these questions, okay? Think about these things. I spend way too much time on what? I wish I had more time for what? I procrastinate whenever I do what? So sometimes we think that to be successful, we're just going to be stretched too thin. So say you're wanting to pick up some side work, but you're like, oh, I'm too busy and I'm just going to be stretched too thin. And so you look at other moms and you're like, how are they doing that? How are they doing it all, where everything just kind of looks like they're all completely all put together and they have time for everything? Well, the truth is that they're either completely burnt out and they're just running that appearance that they're doing well, or they are rocking a time management system. Okay. So, I just feel like you can achieve success in your life and you can have it all. You just have to um, have a way to organize the time, and that's what this is all about. So I know we all say things like, I just need more time in my day, but if you think back on your day and how you're actually spending your time, if you really had an extra hour in your day, do you really think that you'd be able to use it wisely and be productive with it, with the way that you're treating time right now? Okay, so I don't believe that it's about time. It's more about priorities. So we all get the same 24 hours in a day. But really it's what you choose to do with it. So um, it's not about time. It's about priorities. So next time you say the words, I don't have time, instead I want you to switch it with the phrase, it's not a priority, or it's not that important to me, and just see how it makes you feel inside. Okay. If you feel bad when you say it and you get this like negative response, then it probably is something that should be a priority. But if you say, oh, it's just not important to me, and you don't feel anything from that, then it probably isn't, and it's probably not a priority. So um, basically, when you take the time to focus on the categories in your life that are the most important to you, the non-negotiables, I want you to start thinking of a list of these things. So these are the things, remember, that are the things that you have to do and make time for no matter how busy you are. So examples are like family, business, health, um, friendships, self-care, relationships with God. They're the things that you need to feel fulfilled and most happy. So for example, for me, a big one is my relationship with God. So I have a prayer room in my house, and if I'm not spending time in that prayer room, a lot of other things in my life start to suffer. Same with my family. If I'm not spending one-on-one time with my family and intentionally making time for that, my relationships there start to suffer, and I start to feel unfulfilled, because spending quality time with my family is one of the most important things in my life. And same with taking care of myself. And friendships for me actually kind of kills two birds with one stone, because I'm such a people person. A girls' night is like some self-care for me. So start thinking of these categories, okay, the 3 to 5 areas in your life that you need to feel fulfilled. And even if you're not doing them right now, that's fine. Just think of the ones that you want to do or want to start incorporating into your life, okay? All right, so here's a little introduction into time blocking, okay? So time blocking can be an incredibly useful productivity tool, and I know this from experience because I use time blocking. Just like any tool, it can be learned, okay? So some people think, oh, I'm just not organized, there's no way I can do this. But I'm telling you, it is something that can be learned. It's not something that has to come natural to you. It is a learned skill, and that's what I'm going to be teaching you. So the reason why time blocking works so well, really is because of us. It starts with a simple tragic fact. It's that we're all slaves to our calendar. So basically, this is where time blocking comes in. Most people let their calendars dictate their time and use it as a tool to let other people take time from them. Okay, have you ever thought about that before? So really, the value of time blocking at its core, it's just scheduling your to-do list against your calendar. So what you're going to be doing is blocking off time in your calendar where you will be working on a specific thing, and you plan it ahead of time, so then during that time when it comes up, you know the thing you're going to be working on. Okay, so it's a really, really massive productivity tool. And another great thing about it is it's a way to say no to like the time suckers. So if somebody asks you to, they want to get together, but you had set that time aside for work, you can use your calendar to say no to them. Like if it's not on your calendar and it was just in your head that, oh yeah, I'm going to be working during that time, it's harder to be able to say no. And then the next thing is you've got work blocked off on that time, but when that time comes, you'll actually be able to know exactly what you will be working on during that time. So, and this still works even if you have like a crisis or something you have to deal with. It's very flexible. So it's scheduled, but still flexible, which is awesome. So if you're like wanting to plan your child's birthday party, or you want to have a clean house, you want home cooked meals, you want a menu plan, you want to do all these things, really what you need to do is be intentional about it and schedule it in. And rather than have just a rolling, like super long to-do list that just rolls over every day with all the stuff you didn't get done, and then you added like 5 more items and it's just growing and it doesn't stop and you're just like overwhelmed, like I'm never going to knock this stuff out. Instead, you plug those to-do lists into blocks of time that you know exactly when you'll be working on what. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in a little bit. But for example, I'll use the example of one of my clients who I had to help before. She was really, really struggling. Like she's feeling super overwhelmed all day long. And so I told her, okay, make a list of all the stuff that you need to do. And then make a list on your calendar of your free chunks of time, and then plug those to-do lists into that free chunk of time. And she started doing that, and she started being so productive that she actually was having like free time on her hands, where she was able to pick up a cleaning gig to a few hours a week. So because she got herself so organized. So just like an appointment, this is what time blocking is. It's a commitment to show up and do a certain thing. So say you have a doctor's appointment, you're going to show up and do that. That's kind of what the time blocking is. It's a commitment. You treat it just like an appointment, but it's a commitment to yourself. And it also helps prevent procrastination, and it promotes being focused. You really just get stuff done with time blocking. Okay, so let's talk about a closet. So time blocking is also kind of like a messy closet. So let's use this analogy. So if your closet was as messy as this first picture, you look at it. So like say your calendar looks like this messy. You look at it and you're just feeling like, oh my gosh, life is so chaotic and overwhelming, right? But with a closet, when you start to organize a closet, what you do is you start to take things that go together, right? Categories of things. So you've got all your long sleeve shirts, your pants, your short sleeve shirts, your shoes, belts, scarves, whatever. And you organize them in the closet with things that are like each other. And so that's basically what you do, the same thing with your calendar. You start to organize things. So you take these 3 to 5 categories, right? Well, within each category, you're going to have a to-do list for basically each category. So instead of having one long chaotic to-do list, you have to-do lists that are within each category, and then you start organizing it that way. So here's an example of what my old schedule would kind of look like. So first of all, I would my kids were my alarm clock. Okay. So, the day was running me, and it was very messy. So I was late. A lot of times I was late to preschool drop off. I'd go to the gym. I'd run errands. I would hardly get a shower in. I would hardly ever get dressed for the day. Nap time would come around, and I'd be so exhausted from just like being mentally wiped out. I would try to get some housework done or work on my to-do list, but a lot of times I would just sit down on the couch and then just like scroll social media and get nothing done. I'd make dinner, eat dinner, bedtime, and then I would sit down and just work into the wee hours and then not get enough sleep, or I'd like binge on Netflix. So it was just like, it was exhausting, deflating, defeating, all the things. Okay. Just hard. So let me show you what my schedule now looks like with time blocking. So as you can see, I've created these like blocks of time in my morning for some me time, which is really great. I do this awesome morning routine, and I'm up before my kids are up, and it's great because my kids then wake up around 7:30, and then I get to greet them. I'm already dressed, ready for the day. I've already prayed and like had breakfast and got myself ready. And I even set aside some time. I started waking up earlier. And so I set aside some time to work on my biz on the side, my little side hustle. And I have time to go to the gym. I have time, like it's all very organized. I know when my daughter's in preschool. I know when I'm going to the gym. I know when lunch and quiet time is. And so these are all the blocks of time, and they fit all the things that I have that are important to me. So time for myself and the Lord, time to work on my business, time with my family. See, I put down here intentional family time. That's very important to me, is to have family time, but have it be intentional, where my phone is put away and I am spending time with them. And then time for me to exercise, time for me to get stuff done around the house, and then have family day. So you can see it's just a lot more organized. Now, if there's a crisis, if a friend needs to go to the hospital and I need to watch their kid for them or something, like, of course, if that's right in the middle of something I'm doing, of course I can be flexible and adjust as things come up. But on the flip side, like say if somebody wants to hang out with me, or something else comes up where I'm asked to help with something or volunteer with something, this also gives me the ability to be able to say no, which is awesome. Okay, so I want you to start kind of thinking of your time as that jar that we talked about earlier. So, the most important thing is we want to be sure that you're keeping the balance that you want in your life. So, we want to make sure you have time to be intentional, like with your creator, your family, your spouse, yourself, and have time to work on your business or your hobbies, okay? Your non negotiables. So, write down what time you will wake up in the morning and what time you'll go to bed. And this becomes your jar, okay? So in between that large block of time, that's where you will fill up your jar with rocks and your pebbles and finally the sand, okay? So next, what you're gonna do is you will write down everything you do throughout the day, like a schedule, and you will start to discover these hidden pockets of time that you have, okay? And you will start to see how full you can get your jar throughout the day, which is awesome. You'll start to be very productive and get so much done. Okay, so let's get started. We are now going to take those 3 to 5 categories, your non-negotiables, and block off chunks of time so you actually have time for them. So these are the areas that you're going to commit to yourself. So start with things like timed scheduled events, okay? Office hours, meetings, appointments, workout class, things that are actually done at a very specific time. And then add in things that happen every day, like getting your kids ready for school, gym time, errand time, family time, time to work on your business, or time to work on a hobby or a project. And here is a template actually that you can print off and use it for your first draft. Just go to bit.ly/time block template. Just put that in a browser, and then you can print it off and just use pencil as you start to create it. And you can just start to fill it in, and it'll help you get your schedule created. Okay, so the point of time blocking, here's just a few tips. The point of time blocking is to create discipline so you have control over the day. In the beginning, this is not going to be a habit, okay? But if you write it down and you're consistent with it for 30 days, it will become a habit, and it will help you develop that discipline to be disciplined with your time. When you aren't multitasking, getting distracted, or letting your day run you, but instead having those set blocks of time to work with, you will find when you spend time with your family or your business, you're going to be more present with them, and you're not going to be worried about what you aren't getting done in that moment. Have you ever done that, where you're like sitting there having dinner with your family, but instead of enjoying and engaging present conversation with them, you're sitting there thinking about all the stuff you're going to just have to get done after you're done with dinner? And it's mentally exhausting, and it's draining, and it's what makes you binge watch Netflix at night, because it's just so overwhelming. So also, this is just a starting point, and know that every day won't be the same. Okay, so again, if you have a crisis come up or life happens, that's okay. Just readjust your time blocks to make it work for your life. Remember, you are the one in control of your schedule even if that means adjusting it to life. And your schedule doesn't have to be the same every day, but remember your jar, okay? You want to fill it with your rocks first. So block out the time to carve out those non-negotiables every day. This is going to help you be more balanced. Every day, week, and month, you will have time for the things you need, okay? Right now, you may be crushing it in one area, but then another area starts to suffer. Or maybe you're being really, really present and great with your family, but then, maybe your relationship with yourself and taking care of yourself is starting to suffer. So the key is to have time each day and each week carved out for these non-negotiables, so that way you actually are feeling fulfilled and happier in life. So you want to choose a planner system. Having an actual planner, whether paper or digital, is what's going to keep you on track and on schedule. So writing it down is key to keeping you productive throughout the day. It really doesn't matter what planner that you choose, just choose one that's right for you. If you are visual and tactile, then choose a paper planner. If you know you like to write stuff down, if you're a list person, a pen to paper person, choose a paper planner. If you're more linear and digital, choose a digital planner. You probably already know what route you want to go based off just your personality. So here's some recommendations I have for paper planners. Here's some digital planners. I just use Google Calendar, and it's awesome. I also have a paper planner. I actually use both. Okay, so here's the homework for day one. First, you are going to write down your 3 to 5 categories, your non-negotiables that fill you up, okay? And then what you'll do is pick a planner system for your time management to keep you on track. And if you do a paper planner, make sure you're getting one that organizes the day into 15-minute increments. And digital, Google Drive works really, really great, but make sure it's got 15-minute increments. And then print off that time blocking template. Here's the link again, bit.ly/time block template. And then use time pencil and create your time block. Okay, this is the homework for day one. Actually create your time block. And you can then copy this over into your new paper planner when it arrives, or into your digital planner. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to talk about organizing your giant to-do list and putting all your to-dos into the blocks of time on your calendar. So be sure to watch Time Management Day 2 after this one.